In this episode, we're going to take you on a tour of El Viejito Distillery right here on the Tequila Hombre. Coming up next. Hello and welcome to this episode of the Tequila Hombre, where today we're going to take you on a tour of El Viejito Distillery. If you're not familiar with it, it is the distillery that makes brands such as El Bandito. They make El Viejito Tequila as well. They also make Santo Fino Tequila for the Red Rocker, Sammy Hagar, and Guy Fieri. Now, as usual with all of my content, I do not accept any money from brands. I don't accept any trips from brands to go out to visit distilleries. My trip out here was completely funded by myself, 100%, to do research and to find out about the distillery, see if what they say is exactly the truth, and then report back to you what I find. In this particular scenario, I have done reviews from brands from El Viejito before, where I did the Santo Fino line, I did Bandito Yankee, as well as a couple other brands, and Juan Eduardo, the owner and master tequilero for the distillery, invited me out to visit, said, hey, if you're ever in Mexico, in Guadalajara, you want to come visit, we'd love to have you. So I took the opportunity, went up and met with him and to tour his distillery and see how it's made. And that's what I'm delivering for you today. A tour, what I got to see, how things are made at the distillery, and then we can go from there. So let's not waste any more time. Let's hit the distillery tour. El Viejito Distillery is located up in the Los Altos region, about an hour and a half away from Guadalajara. Here you can see the agave fields right outside the distillery. Upon entering the front gate of the distillery, you'll notice the hornos here right out front, brick hornos. That's all they use is brick hornos for cooking the agave. The agave are processed here in the front after they're dumped down. You can see they chop them up, move the cojollo, and get them ready for cooking, and then load them into these hornos for the cooking, where the hydrolysis of turning the beautiful starches into beautiful sugars happens here, which is the start of the tequila making process. You see the gentleman here chopping the agave in half, removing the cojollos, and getting the agave ready for making tequila. After the agave are prepped, they're then loaded into the brick hornos to be ready to be cooked. Now, for those of you that didn't understand the cojollo part, the cojollo is a part of the agave where the quiote rises when the agave hits maturity and is looking to produce seeds. Those are very bitter parts of the agave, especially when they're cooked, so they remove those to keep the tequila from having a bitter aftertaste. After the agave are done cooking, they're then unloaded out of the brick hornos onto a conveyor belt here, which takes them to a shredder that feeds into their 4-pass roller mill, where the beautiful sugars are extracted from the agave fibers. So here you can see the conveyor belt goes up into the shredder, and then the shredder there shreds the agave into fibers and runs them up a conveyor belt. As it rises to the top of the conveyor belt, it goes to a station. The station here is where the agave fibers are drenched in water and then pressed in these wheels to extract the sugars out of the agave fibers. This happens 4 times with this particular roller mill. You can see the other 3 runs, the other 3 passes here right now. Now, after they extract the sugars from the agave fibers, they're then sent to the fermentation area, where it's just a bunch of closed tanks. So we didn't do any video of that because you can't really see the fermentation because these tanks are enclosed. They're one of the few distilleries that actually uses enclosed tanks, so no outside elements can interfere or affect the fermentation. It's all done in a closed environment where they use their proprietary yeast blend for doing fermentation. So then we'll move on to distillation. Now at El Viejito, they use an interesting concept for their stills where they're copper pots on the base, but they use stainless steel caps on them. So they get the best of both worlds in their distillation, where they get the copper they need, but also not too much copper, and it keeps the influence the copper may have on the distillate to a minimum. So they have several stills here that they use for doing the 2 times distillation here at the distillery. After distillation, it's either bottled as Blanco or it is stored in barrels here in the barrel room, where it is aged to whatever age they need. El Viejito also understands the impact water has on their tequila. They have a water processing plant to ensure good quality water for their tequila production. After the tour, I was able to do a tasting of the El Viejito brand, and I thought it was pretty good. So I'm going to get some sample bottles so I can do a proper review for you here on the channel. So make sure you look for that coming soon. There you go. There's the tour of the distillery. I really enjoyed learning about the processes there that they use at El Viejito, as well as meeting Juan Eduardo, the tequilero there for the distillery, and Karina, his production manager or master distiller. She's got a ton of information in her head and is really knowledgeable about tequila production. So I really enjoyed learning more about the distillery and about the brands they make. And of course, I really enjoy Santo Fino. So if you haven't tried Santo Fino Tequila, I recommend picking it up and trying it. As you can see from this video, no additives, made right. They do things, traditionally. So I don't see anything wrong with anything that I've seen there and anything I've tasted so far. I will be getting, as I said in the video, some sample bottles of El Viejito so I can do a proper review for you guys here and let you know tasting notes and everything about this tequila. So if you like the information I shared in this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. We love the likes. And if you're new to the channel, bienvenido, welcome. And if you like getting information like this, so when you go to the store, you know when you're looking at certain brands and stuff that you're dealing with good quality and you've got knowledge. And knowledge is power to the consumer. The more power you have, the better decisions you're going to make. So if you like this stuff, make sure you click the subscribe button right there and the notification bell next to it so you get notified every time I post an informational video to give you more information, more knowledge, more power when you go to the liquor store to looking for a good bottle of tequila. And like I always say, life is too short to drink bad tequila. So hey, try anything out of El Viejito and I'm sure you'll be in good shape. Salud. Bye guys.